Hey friend, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I really appreciate you stopping by during this time of quarantine content. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe and leave me a comment, say hello, introduce yourself. If you're not new here, if you've been a subscriber, I'd still love to hear from you. Please introduce yourself. It's awesome to have a community here and to hear from people, especially during a time where we're all stuck inside. It's great to be able to have a little online community. So with that said, let me dive into today's episode of quarantine content, which is going to be about the best budget wedding filmmaking kit. I don't like hearing that people can't make videos because it's too expensive or they aren't able to afford gear that would make them great videos. And so I love to be able to educate people on what you can do with what you have. If you've been around, you've noticed that. And if you're new, then go back and watch some of my videos and you'll notice a theme where I explore what you can do with what you already have or with what you can afford reasonably. And I know affording reasonably is different for everyone. So I try and keep the budget as low as possible. So with that said, let's dive into today's episode. Okay, the camera that I'm going to recommend is not going to be a surprise to anyone who's been around, but to those who are new, here it is, the Fujifilm X-T30. This camera is a little beast, and whenever you talk about gear, you have to make a bunch of qualifiers and disclaimers and whatnot, and I'm just gonna say this is not the only camera that fits in the budget category and works for wedding filmmaking, and maybe you completely disagree with this choice. So please know that you can make a kit out of whatever you want for budget wedding filmmaking, and I would love to hear about it. I would love to help out anyone who comes to this channel, anyone who finds this video. So if you have a great kit, please leave it below. That said, my choice is the X-T30. The reason for that is because my budget filmmaking kit is this simple. If you want to start wedding filmmaking, I think this is a great way to do it. The Fuji XT30 with the Fujifilm kit lens. As of today on Amazon, this is being recorded April 7th of 2020, you can find this kit for about $1,000 on Amazon, either together or separately. This is one of the most affordable, high quality filmmaking camera and lens options out there. And I say that and I can believe I can back it up with content. This video right here on my screensaver was shot using this, and you could maybe say it was a beautiful location so the camera is not that impressive, but I really believe that you can, no matter where you are, make beautiful films and meaningful films with this camera right here. But you also have to have something to edit with. So yeah, you're gonna need a computer, and you might even want some external hard drives just to save yourself space, and then you can actually end up buying a cheaper computer so that you don't have to pay for a bunch of internal storage, and storage is cheap. So I use DaVinci Resolve, and there is a free version, and it's free for life. So you can download it one time for free and use that for as long as you like, and that puts your total editing cost at whatever the cost of your laptop is and external hard drive. So if you can keep that cheap and buy this camera, you should be at under $2,000 to start wedding filmmaking. Now you'll need some batteries, some SD cards, and I have a grip on here, but these are little accessories that are not that expensive when compared with the price overall of this little kit. So this is literally how I recommend you could start wedding filmmaking or general filmmaking today. Now maybe you're saying that this won't make the quality of films that you're looking for. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to scale this kit up just a little bit. I'm going to show you incrementally how I would build out this kit to make more and more impressive wedding films. And the first thing I'm going to do is focus on audio. So I'm going to recommend that you buy a recorder and a microphone. You can make great films with great audio. That is probably one of the fastest lessons that I learned and I recommend all filmmakers learn, is how to make great films using great audio, focusing on audio just as much as the visuals. I use the Tascam DR10L. I have two of them. One is on me right here, and the other is right here. And I have a white and a black so that I can use them on a bride or a groom and keep them really discreet. And the other little accessory that I would recommend is this bag right here. This is a bag of cables that adapt XLR, 1/4 inch, and RCA to 3.5 millimeter so that I can record off of any soundboard or speaker that is being used for a house microphone or anything like that right into the Tascam. So this right here is a lifesaver. These cables cost, I think, probably a total of $20, and they saved my life. So that right there is a really inexpensive way to upgrade your kit. The Tascam DR10Ls are not the cheapest way to go, but they are incredibly high quality. So maybe you want to end up going with something cheaper. That's fine. All you have to do is get a recorder with a microphone, or buy a microphone that works with your cell phone, because that is an actual viable option in 2020. So now with a reasonably priced laptop, and with this camera and lens combo, and with that audio solution, here's the price that you're looking at right here. But now you want to scale this up just a touch more. Okay, so maybe this lens right here is not going to work at a reception or in low light situations. So you might want to pick up something faster. Now, if we're really focused on budget, then what I'm going to tell you to do is pick up one of these little 7 Artisans lenses. These things are so cheap. I think $70 on Amazon if I'm correct. And they go down to 1.8, and this is a 25 millimeter, so it's about a 35 millimeter equivalent, roughly. And this is going to give you some great dancing footage. You'll have to manually focus, but at 1.8, you're gonna get a really great shallow depth of field on the dance floor. It's going to look really, really beautiful. I've used this for dancing footage, and I really love the wider lens, but it's not so wide that I have to get right up in a guest's face at a wedding. So this is a great affordable way to get better low light footage at receptions. It's not stabilized either, so it doesn't work particularly well maybe if you don't have a steady hand during the day, but during dancing footage, it's much easier to hide that. Something random that I hadn't mentioned was that kit lens from Fuji is stabilized. So that's why I recommend it so highly, is because it's just an incredible all-around lens. And for those of you who may not be able to afford a gimbal and don't have a steady hand, that's a great way to go. Quite honestly, I don't use gimbals and I don't prefer them stylistically. And so some of my gear recommendations will be oriented around the way that I shoot wedding films and my style, which is a great segue to the next piece of gear that if you want to scale this up, I recommend getting a monopod. This one has feet. It's incredibly high quality. I have my own head on here that is using my quick release system, the RC2 quick release system from Manfrotto. Yeah, this is a Ciru, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, that's the brand. And then I put my own head on this. So this would be a great way to add some stabilization and allow you to shoot some longer footage. So yeah, this is a great little tool here. Now, the next piece of gear I can't show you because I'm using it. You've maybe seen me glance up at it. But here's going to be one of my favorite reasons for the XT30, and the reason I recommend it so highly is that this camera is one of the most scalable cameras out there. So right now, as it is, just the body, you only have one card slot, therefore only single card recording. You also only have 8-bit internal recording, and it only goes up to 200 megabits per second. Now, in my opinion, those things will all get you really, really beautiful footage, But the one card recording specifically makes me kind of nervous about weddings. It doesn't have to, but I love to have the safety net of 2 recordings. So the next piece of gear I'm using, so I can't show you, but it is the Ninja 5. This is an external recorder and monitor, and using that recorder and monitor mounted on the top here in a hot shoe, just like it is right now on my XT3, will allow you to plug in to the external HDMI of the camera, and you can get 10-bit 422 recordings out of this tiny little camera. You'll also be doubling up on your recording, so you have now the SD card and the SSD of the Ninja 5 that you'll be recording to. Not only that, but you'll get those better ProRes or DNX files to edit with, and they'll be much more robust for color grading and whatnot if you're unhappy with what you're getting out of the camera. And also, you're going to be adding a monitor that will significantly help you to see your image in daylight, and also just to generally view your image and get a better process. So yeah, the fact that this camera can do that is incredibly impressive to me, and is one of the main reasons that I recommend it so highly to beginners, because oftentimes with beginners cameras, you hit a ceiling pretty quickly because you're learning so fast early on, and you bought this beginner camera, and then as soon as you hit that ceiling, there's really nothing more that that camera can offer you. You could add new lenses, and you could invest in lighting, and there are lots of great ways to improve, but you will always be limited by your camera at a certain point. And the reason I love this camera so much is because once you add the Ninja 5, it unlocks a whole world of cinematography that you didn't have access to before. So yeah, those are some major upgrades that you get with the Ninja 5. So now let's say you have the Ninja 5 with this camera, this lens, the extra 7 Artisans lens, the hard drives, extra batteries, and any accessories that you need that are maybe a little bit more random, and a monopod. I'm gonna put that price right here. And the final improvement that maybe you could make is with a drone. I've got my DJI right over there, you can see it. Okay, so that is my Mavic 2 Pro, but really when it comes to drones, there are so many options available now from DJI, and there are a few other manufacturers who are starting to step in and make affordable drones that shoot 4K in high quality codecs that are very editable and could easily blend with the footage coming out of this camera. So it could go anywhere from a couple $100s up to a couple $1,000 depending on which drone that you choose. And personally, I wouldn't recommend that that would be a way you go early on. I think there are a lot of ways to improve your filmmaking before touching a drone. But if you need that footage from the aerial view, then maybe you add $500 to your price tag here. Maybe you add $1,500 to your price tag here. And that's reasonable to me for a high quality drone that will get you great footage. So that's it for this video. That's my budget filmmaking kit. Now, there are other ways to improve this kit. You could add a gimbal in there if stylistically that fits within your vision. I always recommend the Fringer Pro 2 adapter for Fuji to adapt Canon lenses. And then once you buy that, buy the Sigma 18-35 f1.8 for Canon. And gosh, there's so many ways that you could go in terms of lens selection or other minor upgrades, but really I think that this kit right here is upgradable, it's improvable, it's going to give you a beautiful image, and it's been something I have produced beautiful videos with that I'm really happy with. So all of that said, I'm sorry if this video got long, but yeah, I hope you find it helpful. That is my budget filmmaking kit for 2020 as of right now in April. And I hope you found this video helpful. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.